What up? What up? All right, we back with another one. Uh, this one right here, we got a Google exec or an ex Google exec trying to warn us about what's possibly could go down in 2027 as far as AI and the world economy. I'm guessing, uh, and we're gonna get into it and see what his little warning is all about. Um, and let's see, so we can be better prepared, or at least get maybe a little small glimpse into the future. And so we'll get down to it. Let's see what he got to say. All right.
One of the big questions I've had on my mind, I think it's in part because I saw those humanoid robots, and I sent this to my friends, and we had a little discussion in WhatsApp. Is in such a world, and I don't know whether you're interested in answering this, but what do we do? I was actually pulled up at the gym the other day with my girlfriend. We sat outside because we were watching the shareholder thing, and we didn't want to go in yet.
Yeah.
And then we had the conversation, which is in a world of sustainable abundance, where the price of food and the price of manufacturing things, the price of my life generally drops. And instead of having a cleaner or a housekeeper, I have this robot that does all these things for me. What do I end up doing? What is worth pursuing at this point? Because you say that, that the cat is out the bag as it relates to jobs.
I, I hear a lot of people say that, like, oh, when the robots take over or do all these things that we usually do, what is there left for us to do? I don't understand why they say that. Because it's like, there's plenty of things left for us to do, right? I mean, of course, you got time to now explore any activity that you want. Do anything that you want to do. I love to build, hands on. I like to build. And any activity from here forward, when you have a team of AI, humanoid robots, would be done faster, completed faster. So, yeah, I mean, every activity that you decide you want to do will get done faster. That's just my point of view. That's what I think would, what we'd be doing is getting things done faster, and we have more time. I don't think that we're made as a human species to be going to work 24/7, unless it's something that you doing for yourself or that you want to do, you know what I mean? And thrive at that, you know what I'm saying? Just get it done faster and then you got more time to do more projects. I think it's just like accelerates the growth of, because I got this long list of things that I wish I could get done, and now I can get all these things done and then have more time for even more things I want to do. You know what I mean? And we all got to die, so let's have a blast and accomplish as many things as possible. Whatever you decide you want to do, that's my opinion. But let's get it going.
Job impact, it's already happening.
Well, certain kinds of AI for certain kinds of jobs, and we can choose still from here which way we want to go. But go on, yeah.
And I'm just wondering, in such a future where you think about even yourself and your family and your friends, what are you going to be spending your time doing in such a world of abundance? If there was 10 billion,
well, the question is, are we going to
robots,
get abundance, or are we going to get just jobs being automated? And then the question is still, who's going to pay for people's livelihoods? So the math, as I understand it, doesn't currently seem to work out where everyone can get a stipend to pay for their whole life and life quality that as they currently know it. And are a handful of Western or US-based AI companies going to consciously distribute that wealth to literally everyone, meaning including all the countries around the world whose entire economy was based on a job category that got
True.
eliminated? So for example,
And that is a big problem right there, or a big step, because what he's saying is that right now the way it's going, all the major tech companies who are producing these AI humanoid robots or AI agents in general are going to be reaping the rewards. It's not to say that we are all going to have our own personal humanoid robot, or it's not going to be distributed, considering they're going to be doing all the jobs and getting all the money. But I mean, that's one way to say that. But honestly, the way the economy works, they can't just have all the humanoid robots or all the agents. It has to be distributed in order for it to work, because they need us to have money to purchase the products that they're creating. So I feel like it will work itself out. I mean, this guy, he's the ex Google insider, so he would know more about this than myself. But I mean, that's just economy 101. I gotta have some kind of income to be purchasing the products to keep the whole economic machine going. You know what I mean? You can't sell me something if I don't have the money to buy. So I mean, obviously they're gonna have to compensate us in some way. But I heard a guy say once that he thought it was a great idea that everybody in the country, just for being born, gets a check every month. I mean, especially in that type of world or reality where the robots are doing everything. It only makes sense. I mean, and it ain't because they want to be good people. It's because they need us to have some type of money to buy their product. Because they ain't gonna do nothing but take the money from us. We're gonna give it to them for what we want, and that's what it is. But I do hope I get a humanoid robot instead of just a product, because I need to get some things built around here, get some things done. You know what I mean? Not just buy stuff from Amazon.
Example, places like the Philippines where, a huge percentage of the jobs are customer service jobs. If that got automated away, are we going to have OpenAI pay for all of the Philippines? Do you think that people in the US are going to prioritize that? So then you end up with the problem of you have law firms that are currently not wanting to hire junior lawyers because, well, the AI is way better than a junior lawyer who just graduated from law school. So you have two problems. You have the law student that just put in a ton of money and is in debt because they just got a law degree that now they can't get hired.
Wait a minute. We can't just be feeling bad for lawyers because this AI can do a better job. I mean, back when they cut out all the coal miners, they said, who was that, Biden or something, that told them, hey, learn how to code. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, they just got to learn how to code, but now you want to do something special for the lawyers. No, especially not when this robot's doing a better job. Lawyers need to learn how to build or do the same thing as anybody else. Because, I mean, it ain't just lawyers that's going to have to switch up. I mean, nah. I don't care about, I ain't going to sit here and say that I can't, It's up to the government. And considering, because, I mean, we still got homeless crisis that we got to deal with. Them guys ain't got no jobs or nothing. You know what I mean? Let alone the lower class. You know what I mean? So, no, I ain't feeling sorry for no lawyers fresh out of school or nothing. They need to do away with all that, student loan debt, and the government needs to step up, because otherwise we're going to get rocked if they sitting around and do nothing. And you know how long it takes them to do anything.
To pay off. And then you have law firms whose longevity depends on senior lawyers being trained from being a junior lawyer to a senior lawyer. What happens when you don't have junior lawyers that are actually learning on the job to become senior lawyers? You just have this sort of elite managerial class for each of these domains. So you lose intergenerational knowledge transmission.
Interesting.
And that creates a societal weakening in the social fabric.
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. First, go to Riverside and open an account. When you're ready.
I was watching some podcasts over the weekend with some successful billionaires who are working in AI, talking about how they now feel that we should forgive student loans.
Yeah.
And I think in part this is because of what's happened in New York with, was it Mamdani?
Yeah, Mamdani, yeah.
Mamdani's been elected, and they're concerned that socialism's on the rise because the entry-level junior people in the society are suppressed under student debt, but also now they're going to struggle to get jobs, which means they're going to be more socialist in their voting, which means a lot of people are going to lose power that want to keep power.
Yep, exactly. That's probably going to happen.
Okay. So they're concerned.
See, that goes to show you right there. They be doing things to benefit us as the American citizen only because they thinking 3 or 4 steps ahead, and it's all because they don't want to lose power themselves. They thinking 3 or 4 steps ahead that, oh, we better bless them a little bit, give them a little something, because it might turn around and backfire and I lose my job. But hey, them thinking 3 or 4 moves ahead benefits us in some type of way, that's cool. But I think they should be thinking about us first, you know what I mean? But it is what it is.
And about suddenly alleviating student debt is in part because they're worried that society will get more socialist when the divide increases.
Which is a version of UBI, or just carrying, a safety net that covers everyone's basic needs. So relieving student debt is on the way to creating kind of universal basic need meeting, right?
Do you think UBI will work as a concept? UBI, for anyone that doesn't know, is basically
universal basic income.
Distributing
everybody
money.
gets a stipend.
Giving people money every month.
But I mean, we have that with Social Security. We've done this when it came to pensions. That was after the Great Depression, I think in like 1935, 1937, FDR created Social Security. But what happens when you have to pay for everyone's livelihood everywhere in every country? Again, how can we afford that?
What are you talking about? I don't understand why people say, how can we afford that? I mean, we're in trillions of dollars of debt. And you still got billionaires and trillionaires. Like, stop playing with me. Like, how could this country still be running on trillions of dollars of debt? Like, first off, man, we kind of get mixed up as if money is real. This is not real. Money isn't real. It's just a sheet of paper. All it is a value placement. It's a store of value. It's not the money that's any value. It's the things that money buys. It's the store of money, of value that money buys. Meaning that I put in all this work, and I don't want to, and I don't want to, and I want to collect the value of what I've worked. I have to collect it in something, so they use that to trade instead of collecting it in apples. If I'm working at an apple farm and they paying me in apples, I collect it in dollars. I mean, it's There's enough money to go around. They can print it off and give it to everybody because they do it every year when they say, oh, the government has to, every year the government signs themselves a check, prints off more money, ask for the money from the Federal Reserve, who isn't federal or reserve, and they cut that check. Most of it goes in the pockets of all the politicians, and a fraction of it will go to, just like when they gave us that stimulus. That was like a 2 or 3% of the entire check that they got from the Federal Reserve. And they act like there's not enough money to go around. That's greedy people. Greedy people. There's not enough money to go around, and for them to be able to sustain the way of living that they've been sustained. But man, $1 billion is too much money. You don't need $1 billion. Especially when we got all these humanoid robots. The era of abundance means just that. It means it's an abundance. When there's an abundance of something, there's enough to go around. So when the robots get here and they create an era of abundance because they're doing all the work and there's plenty of stuff to go around, it ain't about the money no more. It's just a money. We don't need the money for to store the value as a store of value whenever there's the product that we're purchasing is in abundance. They pass it out.
Well, if the costs go down 10x of making things.
This is where the math gets very confusing because I think the optimists say you can't imagine how much abundance and how much wealth it will create. And so we will be able to generate that much. But the question is, what is the incentive again for the people who've consolidated all that wealth to redistribute it to everybody else?
We just have to tax them.
And how will we do that when the corporate lobbying interests of trillion-dollar AI companies can massively influence the government more than human political power?
Well,
in a way,
see, what they're trying to do is they're trying to keep as much as today's, ways of rules of the game in this capitalist economy where you just get rich and rich and rich and richer. They're trying to keep as much as that in this new world that's going to be created with these humanoid robots. Like, let it go, bro. Let it go. As long as you and yours and your children's 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 going to be taken care of, why are you still trying to hold on to this thing to this greedy, mindset that you have? And when it's inevitably going to affect the new world, the era of abundance, in a negative way. I mean, it's unnecessary, and they shouldn't have that much power and authority and influence over the government, especially when we're trying to regulate this era of abundance. Like, they shouldn't even be at the table. But that's lobbying, and the crazy is it's legal until you're so good at your job that it lands you in jail. People go to school, to college, to lobby, and then when you're lobbying is really it's just a nice word for saying, hey, I'm going to talk this guy and get this politician, talk to him and say, hey, if you do what I want you to do, vote for the things I need you to vote for, here's some money for you. And they call that lobbying. And then if you're too good at it, now it lands you in jail. It is what it is.
This is the last moment that human political power will matter. It's sort of a use it or lose it moment, because if we wait to the point where in the past, in the Industrial Revolution, they start automating, a bunch of the work, and people have to do these jobs that people don't want to do in the factory, and there's like bad working conditions. They can unionize and say, hey, we don't want to work under those conditions. And their voice mattered because the factories needed the workers.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, does the state need the humans anymore? Their GDP is coming in almost entirely from the AI companies. So suddenly this political class, this political power base, they become the useless class, to borrow a term from Yuval Harari, the author of *Sapiens*. In fact, he has a different frame, which is that AI is like a new version of digital. It's like a flood of millions of new digital immigrants, of alien digital immigrants that are Nobel Prize level capability, work at superhuman speed, will work for less than minimum wage. We're all worried about, immigration of the other countries next door taking labor jobs. What happens when AI immigrants come in and take all of the cognitive labor? If you're worried about immigration, you should be way more worried about AI.
That's a weird mindset, though, to have. It's like, why? And a lot of people do have this mindset. But myself, I see it as, why would I care if somebody else is doing all the jobs? I ain't trying to do all the jobs. I care if they buying up all the stuff. If all the product is gone. If all the land is gone. If I can't go in there and get me the brand new e-bike because they done sold out. That's what I care about. You talking about the work? I don't want to do the work. It's 2026. Give me my money, so I can go out here and use my mind and my time. I hate when people take up my time. I hate that. Time is way more precious than money. We finna die. Everybody got a death, and they want to talk about. I want this job. No, that job ain't for me. Let that AI have it. Give me his check. That's what I care about. Give me the loot. Give me the loot. Stop playing with me, man. People talking about, I want to work. It ain't work if you're doing it. I only work for myself. You know what I mean? Now, if I have to, and I've had to in the past, work for someone else for a short period of time till I get the loot to work for myself, yeah, that's what I'll do. But and I ain't about to be putting in no work. What I want to do is think of great ideas and execute those great ideas. That's life to me. That's living. Going to work at McDonald's or at some I don't care where it's at. Working for somebody else's. You either work for your dream or you work for somebody else's. And I'm trying to tell you, I don't understand. I'm not the type. Now I've seen people in my family as well, go to work for somebody else and be happy. It ain't never been in my blood. It ain't never been in my DNA. I ain't happy.
Like, it dwarfs it.
Yeah.
You can think of it like this. I mean, if you think about, we were sold a bill of goods in the 1990s with NAFTA. We said, hey, we're going to, NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, we're going to outsource all of our manufacturing to these developing countries, China, Southeast Asia, and we're going to get this abundance. We're going to get all these cheap goods, and it'll create this world of abundance. Well, all of us will be better off. But what did that do? Well, we did get all these cheap goods. You can go to Walmart and go to Amazon, and things are unbelievably cheap. But it hollowed out the social fabric. And the median worker is not seeing upward mobility. In fact, people feel more pessimistic about that than ever. And people can't buy their own homes. And all of this is because we did get the cheap goods, but we lost the well-paying jobs for everybody in the middle class. And
Yeah, you could blame it on that, but I blame it on the fact that the government didn't see that and start writing checks. You should have wrote checks to the middle class. We should have been having UBI a long time ago. This is ridiculous. Yeah, it was good, but you still had that gritty mindset. The people at the top just trying to collect, and then over time, now you see that hollowed out middle class. Now you see that hollowed out, that even worse off, a lower class. That's what it is because y'all didn't fill that void. Y'all supposed to fill that void and cash some checks. Y'all was making all that money from all that cheap labor being sent overseas, but y'all didn't compensate the people who's hurting the worst for it. And not only did y'all not do that, y'all doubled down on the robberies, double down on rigging the housing markets, double down on rigging the stock markets, double down. So we already know the 2008 market crash, Black Monday. I mean, all that, and it ain't stopped. It's going to continue to do so until something changes. The only thing that's in effect to change is these big tech companies creating these humanoid robots that's going to bring the era of abundance. Because it ain't the government. They still got their hand in the pot. So that's what the issue is. I mean, it seems to be like that to me, especially because I'm living in the class. I'm one of the citizens. This man right here probably rich.
And AI is like another version of NAFTA. It's like NAFTA 2.0. Except instead of China appearing on the world stage who will do the manufacturing labor for cheap, suddenly this country of geniuses in a data center created by AI appears on the world stage. And it will do all of the cognitive labor in the economy for less than minimum wage. And we're being sold a same story. This is going to create abundance for all, but it's creating abundance in the same way that the last round created abundance. It did create cheap goods, but it also undermined the way that the social fabric works and created mass populism in democracies all around the world.
What if I could build an app that works my way with Base 44? My work moves fast.
You disagree?
No, I agree. I agree.
Well, I'm not, I'm...
Yeah, no, I'm trying to play devil's advocate as much as I can.
Yeah, please, yeah.
But no, I agree. And it is absolutely bonkers how much people care about immigration relative to AI. It's like, it's driving all the election outcomes at the moment across the world. And, whereas AI doesn't seem to be part of the conversation.
And AI will reconstitute every other issue that already exists. You care about climate change or energy, well, AI will reconstitute the climate change conversation. If you care about education, AI will reconstitute that conversation. If you care about healthcare, AI reconstitutes all of these conversations. And what I think people need to do is AI should be a tier 1 issue that people are voting for. And you should only vote for politicians who will make it a tier 1 issue where you want guardrails to have a conscious selection of an AI future and the narrow path to a better AI future rather than the default reckless path.
No one's even mentioning it. And when I hear
it's because there's...
I understand the AI regulations and the guardrails, but I've been on this earth too long and experienced the cause and effect of our government, as well as watched other governments around the world, for me to be more cautious of an AI who just seems to be making things better than our government. I do not trust the government. I mean, yeah, AI needs guardrails, but right now as it stands, AI is more trustworthy than this government here. Come on, man. And what they've been doing lately, crazy. Why would I... That's ridiculous. I mean, even if you are a good guy or a good girl in the government, you're not standing up for against the bad. Y'all can argue in all those hearings all you want to, but that's just show. Yeah, that's just show. I don't believe in none of that. So, no, right now I'm waiting on AI to do its thing. Yeah, I would like for the government to straighten it all the way out and actually regulate this AI and put some guardrails on it and make sure that the big tech companies don't take advantage like all the other big companies before them and the lobbyists and the government themselves. But I don't trust nobody at the top. I appreciate the top tech industries more than I do our government agencies, considering they're doing more for us, but they still got that billionaire mindset. I mean, nothing against billionaires. Because, I mean, having money, cool. You can do whatever you want to do, But if you ain't looking out for the people at the bottom, then I don't trust you.
There's no political incentives to mention it because there's no good answer for the current outcome.
Yeah.
If I mention it, if I tell people, if I get people to see it clearly, it looks like everybody loses. So as a politician, why would I win from that? Although I do think that as the job loss conversation starts to hit, there's going to be an opportunity for politicians who are trying to mitigate that issue finally getting, some wins. And people just need to see clearly that the default path is not in their interest. The default path is companies racing to release the most powerful, inscrutable, uncontrollable technology we've ever invented with the maximum incentive to cut corners on safety, rising energy prices, depleting jobs, creating joblessness, creating security risks. That is the default outcome because energy prices are going up. They will continue to go up. People's jobs will be disrupted. And we're going to get more, deep fakes and floods of democracy and all these outcomes from the default path. And if we...
That could sound scary, what he's saying. But you also got to keep in mind, like, you got... we talking about the same people before AI that was drafting everybody to war. Every government drafts their citizens, makes them go to war because of the old men arguing and can't settle their own differences. They should, two presidents, two countries' leaders got a problem, they should get in a boxing ring. But no, you want young kids to die by the thousands. Is that not scary? Has that not been going on for centuries? Like, don't try to scare me with the AI. Yeah, I understand AI does deregulations, and yeah, they are, superhuman. That their mistakes is, if they've made a mistake, it's small, it's bigger than a small mistake, or it could be because. But the thing is like, nah, I'm sick of putting my faith into the government or these types of governments that we've had since I was ever born, and they've always made mistakes, and it ain't no simple mistake. Police running around killing everybody, governments going to war for no reason over resources and oil and lies and just all kind of stuff, even to their own people, and that's including American government. Like, we can't even trust our food. So yeah, I think I would trust AI over this nonsense here. It ain't as scary as what's going on right now. And I will be able to, because already I got to look out for myself. Already I can't trust my police, my government, my country. I can't trust. So don't sit here and act like, oh, it could be even worse than now. I think that I'd rather take my chances. And also, I am optimistic about it's competition as far as humanoid robots. Every company who's creating these humanoid robots and every country who's creating these humanoid robots, as far as their AI tech companies, they're trying to compete to make it better and better and better and have the best. These governments ain't competing to have the best government. They all robbing their citizens and robbing each other and killing, and they're not taking none of the fall. It's easy to see because we're America, but the richest are still getting richer, even though the power of the dollar is going down drastically, ridiculously, ever since they took it away from the gold standard or whatever the case may be. A whole lot of other things might be have an effect on that, but regardless, they ain't seeing it. They pockets ain't hurting. The government police ain't killing them. They ain't going to war. So no, it definitely, I ain't getting tricked by that. It's hard times as it is now. You can't trust. So yeah, I'm optimistic.
We don't want that. We have to choose a different path.
What is the different path? And if we were to sit here in 10 years' time and you say, and Tristan, you say, do you know what, we were successful in turning the wheel and going a different direction, what series of events would have had to happen, do you think? Because I think the AI companies very much have support from Trump. I watch the dinners where they sit there with the 20, 30 leaders of these companies, and Trump is talking about how quickly they're developing, how fast they're developing. He's referencing China. He's saying he wants the US to win. Yeah. So, in the next couple of years, I don't think there's going to be much progress in the United States necessarily.
Unless there's a massive political backlash because people recognize that this issue will dominate every other issue.
How does that happen?
Hopefully conversations like this one.
Yeah.
What I mean is, Neil Postman, who's a wonderful media thinker in the lineage of Marshall McLuhan, used to say, clarity is courage. if people have clarity and feel confident that the current path is leading to a world that people don't want, that's not in most people's interests, that clarity creates the courage to say, yeah, I don't want that. So I'm going to devote my life to changing the path that we're currently on. That's what I'm doing. And that's what I think that people who take this on, I watch, if you walk people through this and you have them see the outcome, almost everybody right afterwards says, what can I do to help? Obviously, this is something that we have to change. And so that's what I want people to do, is to advocate for this other path. And we haven't talked about AI companions yet, but I think it's important, maybe we should do that. I think it's important to integrate that before you get to the other path.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, by the way, no apologies, but there's so much information to cover, and
How's it going?
Good. I'm gonna have you help me make a beat using co-producer by output.
Sounds.
Do you know what's interesting? Is
Yeah.
a side point is how personal this feels to you, but how passionate you are about it. A lot of people come here and they tell me the matter-of-fact situation, but there's something that feels more sort of emotionally personal when we speak about these subjects to you, and I'm fascinated by that. Why is it so personal to you? Where is that passion coming from? Because this isn't just your prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain. There's something in your limbic system, your amygdala, that's driving every word you're saying.
I care about people. I want things to go well for people. I want people to look at their children in the eyes and be able to say, like, I think I grew up maybe under a false assumption, and something that really influenced my life was I used to have this belief that there was some adults in the room somewhere. Like we're doing our thing here. We're in LA, we're recording this, and there's some adults protecting the country, national security. There's some adults who are making sure that geopolitics is stable. There's some adults that are like making sure that industries don't cause toxicity and carcinogens, and that
Me too. I used to think
there's adults who are caring about stewarding things and making things go well. And I think that there have been times in history where there were adults, especially born out of massive world catastrophes, like coming out of World War II. There was a lot of conscious care about how do we create the institutions and the structures, Bretton Woods, United Nations, positive sum economics, that would steward the world so we don't have war again. And as in my first round of the social media work, as I started entering into the rooms where the adults were, and I recognized that because technology and software was eating the world, a lot of the people in power didn't understand the software, didn't understand technology. You go to the Senate Intelligence Committee and you talk about what social media is doing to democracy and where, Russian psychological influence campaigns were happening, which were
I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they are not, they're not in their studies anymore. When you're in the AI field or in computers, you have to stay up on that. When you're in cybersecurity, you have to stay up on your learning, and learn with the game. And the people that's ruling the world in our government, they ain't learned nothing since back in the day. You know what I mean? They might hear about some stuff, but they ain't learn it. They ain't required to do nothing. So that's a problem.
real campaigns. And I realized that I knew more about that than people who were on the Senate Intelligence Committee.
Making the laws.
Yeah. And that was a very humbling experience because I realized, there's not that many adults out there when it comes to technology's dominating influence on the world. And so there's a responsibility, and I hope people listening to this who are in technology realize that if you understand technology, and technology is eating the structures of our world, children's development, democracy, education, journalism, conversation, it is up to people who understand this to be part of stewarding it in a conscious way. And I do know that there have been many people, in part because of things like the social dilemma and some of this work, that have basically chosen to devote their lives to moving in this direction as well. But what I feel is a responsibility because I know that most people don't understand how this stuff works. And they feel insecure because if I don't understand the technology, then who am I to criticize which way this is going to go? We call this the under the hood bias. Well, if I don't know how a car engine works, and if I don't have a PhD in the engineering that makes an engine, then I have nothing to say about car accidents. Like, no, you don't have to understand what's the engine in the car to understand the consequence that affects everybody of car accidents.
True.
Mm-hmm. And you can advocate for things like, speed limits and zoning laws and, turning signals and brakes and things like this. And so, yeah, I mean, to me, it's just obvious. It's like, I see what's at stake if we don't make different choices. And I think in particular, the social media experience for me of seeing in 2013, it was like seeing into the future and seeing where this was all going to go.
A lot of them, a lot of the, my opinion again, is that a lot of these politicians, not only do they not know, but they're not worried about it. They're worried about their own agenda. They're worried about completing the task that they were put up to by their lobbyist or their team or their, you know what I'm saying, their cult or whatever, right? All that stuff. They're little side agendas. That's what they're worried about, and that's what they spend their time thinking on. They can't think on two of the same things at once, so they use all their power to continue the agenda, like the Epstein files. They worried about all that, and this and the third. They ain't worried about what's really going on, because they ain't really put in place to try to make the world a better place. I mean, if there's that many people in the government and we ain't making that, and the progress that we make is so slow, like all the money they put in NASA and they threw away, and I'm not just talking in general. I was talking about a certain project that they made, that they had going for a long time. It was billions of dollars for some kind of spaceship that they just stopped building. That's what I was referring to when I said that. But yeah, that's what I think has a lot to do with it anyway.
Like imagine you're sitting there in 2013 and the world's like working relatively normally. We're starting to see these early effects, but imagine you can kind of feel a little bit of what it's like to be in 2020 or 2024 in terms of culture and what the dumpster fire of culture has turned into, the problems with children's mental health and psychology and anxiety and depression. But imagine seeing that in 2013. I had friends back then who have reflected back to me. They said, Tristan, when I knew you back in those days, it was like you were seeing this kind of slow motion train wreck. You just looked like you were traumatized. And
You look a little bit like that now.
do I? Oh,
You do.
I hope not.
No, you do look a little bit traumatized. It's hard to explain. It's like someone who can see a train coming.
My friends used to call it
You said that.
not PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, but pre-TSD, of having pre-traumatic stress disorder, of seeing things that are going to happen before they happen.
That's a pessimistic, because hey, I'm optimistic.
And that might make people think that I think I'm, seeing things early or something. That's not what I care about. I just care about us getting to a world that works for people. I grew up in a world that, a world that mostly worked. I grew up in a magical time in the 1980s, 1990s. And, back then using a computer was good for you. I used my first Macintosh and did educational games and learned programming, and it didn't cause mass loneliness and mental health problems and, break how democracy works. And
That's social media. What he's saying there is not all. It's not all AI at all. It is social media apps that are causing those things, and that's because it relates to a lot where the government did not regulate them. Even the head of the IT departments of those tech companies that created those social media apps knew the dangers of the apps itself, but it was all for getting the dollar, getting the most subscribers, most people, on their sites, and most people scrolling or spending the most time on their platform. And that was all done while the government, did not look into it, did not know what was going on, and was also lobbying for those companies as well, I'm sure. And so you can't just start at the bottom. You have to start at the top to fix these things, and it starts with our own government. I mean, of course. So you're just talking about one or two problems out of the many that is created by our government running itself the way it does. That's all that is.
it was just a tool and a bicycle for the mind. And I think the spirit of our organization, Center for Humane Technology, is that word humane comes from my co-founder's father, Jeff Raskin, actually started the Macintosh project at Apple. So before Steve Jobs took it over, he started the Macintosh project, and he wrote a book called The Humane Interface about how technology could be humane and could be sensitive to human needs and human vulnerabilities. That was his key distinction, that just like this chair, hopefully, is ergonomic. If you make an ergonomic chair, it's aligned with the curvature of your spine. It works with your anatomy. Mm-hmm. And he had the idea of a humane technology like the Macintosh that works with the ergonomics of your mind. That your mind has certain intuitive ways of working, like I can drag a window and I can drag an icon and move that icon from this folder to that folder, and making computers easy to use by understanding human vulnerabilities. And I think of this new project that is the collective human technology project now is we have to make technology writ large humane to societal vulnerabilities. Mm-hmm. Technology has to serve and be aligned with human dignity rather than wipe out dignity with job loss.
And that's
it
true.
has to be humane to child's socialization process,
right.
So that technology is actually designed to strengthen children's development rather than undermine it and cause AI suicides, which we haven't talked about yet. And so I deeply believe that we can do this differently, and I feel responsibility in that.
On that point of human vulnerabilities, one of the things that makes us human is our ability to connect with others and to form relationships. And now with AI speaking language and understanding me and being, which something I don't think people realize is my experience with AI or ChatGPT is much different from yours. Even if we ask the same question, it will say something different.
Right.
And I didn't realize this. I thought, the example I gave the other day was me and my friends were debating who was the best soccer player in the world. And I said Messi. My friend said Ronaldo. So we both went and asked our ChatGPTs the same question, and it said two different things.
Really?
Yeah. Mine said Messi, his says Ronaldo.
Well, this reminds me of the social media problem, which is that people think when they open up their news feed, they're getting mostly the same news as other people. And they don't realize that they've got a supercomputer that's just calculating the news for them. Mm-hmm. If you remember in the social dilemma, there's the trailer.
Yeah.
And if you typed in into Google, for a while, if you typed in climate change is, and then depending on your location, it would say not real versus, a made up thing. And it wasn't trying to optimize for truth. It was just optimizing for what the most popular queries were in those different locations. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's a really important lesson when you look at things like AI companions, where children and regular people are getting different answers based on how they interact with it.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor.
All right. So that was it right there. And that was pretty interesting. A lot of things to think about right there. But in the end, man, just be optimistic and do what you can. That's all I say. Do what you can to try to, make it a better place. Even the thought process, like being optimistic. Now, and that Google, that guy, him to be, worried is his job. I'd say he has more of a responsibility than you or I, but we do have a responsibility as well. But I think ours is more of just to think positive. You know what I mean? As long as we're leading ourselves in the right direction, then those who are following us, knowingly or unknowingly, will get that vibe too. You know what I mean? Good energy spreads, and so as long as we're trying to do the right thing as an individual, I think we'll be more apt to do so as a collective. But yeah, I think I believe in a brighter future for sure. But that's another one in the books. You know what I mean? Ezy10Bandz, all love and no trust, ALANT full throttle, the brand, the label, and the motto. Till next time.
You can think about it. Oh, I like to have $1 million. I like to win the lottery. Right now, what you got is just as good as that. If you enjoy it and respect it, enjoy your children, enjoy yourself, you already got that. We always like to have a little bit better. We're doing good anyway. We've been blessed anyway. So you can stack your whole life on just that, what you got. To my family, my home, that means everything.
I told my youngin' quit that gun and all that dog and I ain't with it. Visualize and strategize and get up and go get it. I don't care if they ain't with it, that just let you gotta split it. Been there and I done it, I won't get into specifics. R.I.P. to Willie Sloan, used to turn to him for wisdom. Now my OG dead and gone. Gotta enjoy it while it lasts, cause ain't nothing set in stone. Tryna lead them by example, I'm like, where did I go wrong? All on my own, out here moving like I'm grown. And it's salary on my 20 blade, but I whip it like it's chrome. I might pay for 1 or 2 or 3, but bet I'm still at home. Lot of cash on Facebook ads, just hustling on the phone. Let it be known that I'm coming for the throne. Tell my people to hold on, cause I'm bringing back the bag, and it won't even take that long. It's just me, myself, and I, and the team way too strong. Whoa, whoa. I only focus on the goal. We both serial killer, but it's a different bowl. I mean, my mama need a house, I'm in a different mode. I can't just sit and wait for God to come and bless her soul. Here's to the stories that were never told. I had to go, but had nowhere to go. Winter cold had me slow, but I never froze. Now I'm out here word pressing with a different code. And it's ALANT.GQ. If I don't say what's up, it's cause you see through. She say she always stay at home, I say me too. Stay in the box, but I keep a hold to breathe through.
You have to deal with it if you go out there and fool with it. That excess bite and taking time from what you should have been doing, enjoying my family, got them food to eat, stuff like that. Now you look at that, you got everything.